Today we commemorate the beheading of St. John the Baptist. Today in the Orthodox Church is a strict fast day, actually, as we mark this feast day. And of course, this is an important day in the life of our parish. It's the secondary day that we commemorate St. John the Baptist. We commemorate him the day after Epiphany, that is our church's feast day. And the secondary feast of John the Baptist is today, his beheading and his entrance into the kingdom of God. And the third day of John is June 24th, which is his nativity. So we celebrate all these days in our parish. The gospel lesson that we just read shows the perfect storm, if you will, of mediocre thought and greed and excess and ego. And when you put those four things together, you have a very combustible situation. We had a mediocre conviction because Herod actually enjoyed the company of John the Baptist. It said that he was perplexed by him, but when he spoke, then Herod heard him gladly. So he knew that there was some good in John, but he didn't have a very strong conviction about that. And then it came a day of Herod's birthday, and you can imagine that there was a lot of drinking and debauchery. And with that leaves our reason. And Herod, wanting to show off for his guests, said to his niece, "Ask whatever you want from me. You're dancing so beautifully. Ask me for anything, and I'll give you anything, even half my kingdom." I mean, what an insane thought that is, for a king to put up half his kingdom in the context of a party. And of course, his niece, under the influence of her mother, said, "Give me the head of John the Baptist." And then Herod, because he was embarrassed, because of the oaths that he had made to his guests, said, "Well, now I guess I'm bound to kill this person." He couldn't see the right thing to do because he didn't want to look bad in front of somebody else. And this pressure led him to commit murder. And so we see the lesson here is that none of us is immune to this kind of thing. Hopefully not the murder part. But when we have a mediocre conviction, we end up in a compromised position. We start making egotistical, stupid offers. We end up doing dumb things. And when we're backed into a corner and we say, well, the only way out of this is to swallow my pride and do the right thing, many times we can't swallow our pride, so we do the wrong thing. So Herod, even in the middle of all this mess, could have fixed the whole thing by just swallowing his pride and saying, I can't do that. You asked me to do something that's immoral. Not only it's immoral, but it goes against what I believe because I like this guy in some way. So we need to be careful, and we need to have conviction about certain things. And when we have conviction about something, we need to stand for that thing. And when we find ourselves backed into a corner where the result of a behavior might be a blow to our ego, we have to say, well, what's more important? A blow to my ego versus compounding this mistake with a bigger mistake. And then we should take the course of the right thing, which is not necessarily the easy thing. So these are some very difficult lessons on a very difficult day in the life of our church, where we commemorate the ending of life of John the Baptist, who in a sense becomes the first martyr of the church. John is the last of the prophets and the first of the saints. That's why he has both titles. All the people before Christ are not called saint, but prophet. And then the people that are after Christ are saint, and St. John is the prophet, the forerunner, the saint, and all these things because he preceded God. And his job was a difficult one, because he said, I must decrease so that Christ must increase. And he lived a life of humility, and he took his role with humility and with love. And there is something definitely to be emulated from the life of St. John. So this is our gathering today.